The envelope is blue. Corporate letterhead, company logo in the upper left corner. Your name printed in the center in a font that is no opinion about you. Inside it is an offer letter, $52,000 a year. Full health coverage, 15 days of vacation, annual salary review. Start date in 2 weeks. You are 22 years old. You sign. And for approximately 3 weeks, you feel something you haven't ever felt before in your adult life. Solid ground. The physical sensation of standing on something that doesn't move after years off, walking on ice. The rent will be paid. The credit card will be cleared. You will have health insurance with your own name on it. Your parents are relieved in a way you can see on their faces. Your friends say you did well. Your favorite professor from college replies to your email in 2 days and writes, "This is exactly the kind of foundation you need." Foundation. Everyone uses that word. You don't know yet that foundations are designed to hold the weight of something built on top of them. You don't know yet that a foundation that never supports anything is just concrete buried in the ground. You'll find that out later. For now, you have a badge, a desk with your name on a small placard, and the unmistakable feeling of having arrived. That feeling is the most dangerous part of all of this. The job is good. Let's be clear about that, not mediocre, not a trap, not a mistake. Good. The colleagues are decent. Your direct manager, a quiet, patient man named Ellis, explains things once and doesn't repeat himself. You learn fast. He notices. At the end of year 1, you receive a 4% raise. At the end of year 2, a lateral promotion with a new title and $6,000 more on the salary. You are progressing. The numbers prove it. You pay off the credit card. You start saving money. You rent your own apartment for the first time. 1 bedroom, small kitchen, a window with a view of the building next door. You buy a couch that didn't come from someone on the internet. That feels like an achievement because it is one. There is a routine now. Up at 7, in by 9. Lunch at the same place on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Weekly team meeting at 2:30 that always ends 10 minutes early. Home by 6:30. The routine has weight, and the weight is comforting in the way that only weight can be. You know where you are because the floor doesn't move. You are 24 years old. You are comfortable. You think comfortable and safe are the same thing. They are not. Comfortable is a state. Safe is a direction. One can exist without the other, and when they exist together without you noticing the difference, the cost begins accumulating in a way that doesn't show up on any bank statement. But you don't know that yet. For now, the routine works and the paycheck lands every 2 weeks, and life seems to be going somewhere. The first rule. In the beginning, the safe job delivers exactly what it promised. The problem is not what it delivers. It's what it quietly teaches you to stop wanting. You are 27 when you first notice it, not a dramatic moment, no music swelling in the background, no sudden revelation. It's an ordinary Tuesday. You are in a quarterly planning meeting, looking at a slide deck you have seen in 3 different versions over the last 5 years, and there is a question that appears somewhere in the back of your mind. Quiet, uninvited, almost polite. Is this it? You don't answer it. You write something in your notebook. The meeting ends. You get a coffee. The question doesn't leave. You start paying attention to things you weren't tracking before. The org chart. Who gets promoted and when? The pattern of raises. The math behind the 3% and 4% increases that feel meaningful until you run them against inflation, and they stop feeling that way. You notice that the people who have been here 10 years make about 40% more than you do now. You are on that trajectory. You can see the ceiling from where you are standing. It is not low. That's the thing nobody tells you about a good, safe job. The ceiling is not insultingly low. It is reasonably high. High enough that you can spend years walking toward it without feeling trapped. High enough that when someone asks if you like your job, you can say yes and mean it in at least 3 different ways. But it is still a ceiling. Around this time, you hear about Marcus. Marcus went to the same school. Same year, same major, roughly the same GPA. At 22, while you were signing the offer letter, Marcus was turning one down. He joined a startup instead. 11 people, no brand name, equity that might be worth nothing. His parents were not relieved. His girlfriend at the time thought it was reckless. He told you about it at a party. and you remember thinking it sounded exhausting. Marcus is 27 now. The startup was acquired. Not for a life-changing number. Not yet. But for enough that his equity converted into $190 in cash and stock in the acquiring company. He reinvested most of it. He is now at his second startup, this one with more leverage, more equity, and a title he negotiated from a position of someone who has already done it once. You don't resent Marcus. That's the important part. You respect him. You just didn't understand until now that respect and envy can arrive in the same moment and be about completely different things. You respect what he built. What you feel in your chest, the other thing, is about what you didn't try. The second rule. The safe job doesn't take your ambition away. It makes ambition increasingly expensive to act on. Every year you stay, the cost of leaving goes up, the lifestyle adjusts, the identity adjusts. The risk tolerance quietly, systematically goes down. There is a 10-year reunion. You almost don't go. Not from shame, you tell yourself that, and it is mostly true. You just don't feel like it. You are tired in the mid-level way of someone who has been doing competent work for long enough that competent work no longer requires full presence. You go anyway. The conversations are fine. The drinks are fine. The people are broadly who you expected them to be, slightly older, slightly different versions of the trajectories you could have predicted at 22. And then someone asks you what you do, and you explain it, the title, the company, the general shape of the work. And they nod in the way people nod when they understand what you said but have nothing to add to it. You ask what they do. Some of them are doing things that have no clean answer. Something with a company they're building. Something with equity in a fund. Something that exists in a category that didn't exist when you graduated. Their answers are complicated in the way that things with real upside tend to be complicated. Your answer is clean. It's accurate. It's complete in 30 seconds. That is not a compliment. You drive home that night, and you do the math you have been avoiding for 2 years. You open every account you have and look at them all at once. You are 30 years old, salary, $71,000, which sounds like real money, and by most measures it is, until you run it against the cost of living, in the city you chose because that's where the job was, and now you can't leave because the job is here, and your life is here, and your lease renews in April. Savings, $34,000, which is responsible, which is more than most people your age, which is also, if you're honest, less than it would be if you had made different choices in years 2 through 4 before the lifestyle adjusted to the salary, and the margin shrank 401k, $41,000 growing, slowly, on a schedule someone else designed for someone whose finish line is 65 and whose ambition is comfort. You close the laptop. You don't sleep well, the third rule. At 30, the cost of the safe job stops being theoretical. It becomes a specific number in a specific account that is smaller than it should be, not because you failed, but because the system you chose was never designed to make you wealthy. It was designed to make you stable. Those are not the same destination. It doesn't arrive the way you thought it would. You imagined, if you ever thought about it at all, that regret would come with volume. A crisis, a breakdown, a dramatic moment in a parking garage or on a bathroom floor where everything became unbearably clear and you emerged changed. It doesn't work that way. It works like this. You are 35. You have been at the company for 13 years. You are a senior manager now. The title arrived at 33, 2 years behind the internal schedule you had set for yourself at 28 and quietly revised at 31. The raise that came with it was $11,000. You were grateful. You did not negotiate. You have not negotiated once in 13 years because the raises came and the relationship was good and negotiating felt like introducing friction into something that was working. It was working. That's true. You just don't know anymore if working and worth it are the same question. Your friend Devin bought a house at 31. He has equity in it now that has nothing to do with his employer's opinion of him. Marcus is running his third company. The second one didn't work. He lost 2 years and a significant amount of money that he had made on the first one. He talks about it plainly, the way Simeon talks about a tuition payment. He learned. He moved. You have not lost anything that dramatically in 13 years. You have also not built anything that dramatically in 13 years. That equivalence, the loss and the gain canceling each other out at zero, that is the shape of the regret. Not a wound. A flat line, a graph that moves steadily to the right and slightly upward and never does anything that surprises anyone, including you. The regret is not about the job. The job was fine. The job was good. The job did exactly what a good, safe job does. It paid you reliably, treated you fairly, and asked you to become a specific kind of person in exchange: predictable, cautious, optimized for continuation rather than creation. And you became that person gradually and completely, in the way that water shapes stone, not violently, not obviously, just consistently over time, until the shape that remains is no longer what it was at the start. The regret is about the trade. You traded optionality for stability. You traded upside for floor. You traded the version of yourself who might fail at something real for the version of yourself who succeeds at something safe. And the trade felt rational at every single step, every raise accepted, every negotiation skipped, every risk calculated and declined. Each individual decision, examined alone, was reasonable, logical, defensible. This is what nobody tells you about the accumulation of reasonable decisions. Examined individually, each one is fine. Examined together, across 13 years, they are a direction. And the direction you have been traveling is not toward the life you described when someone asked you at 22 what you wanted. The fourth rule: regret at 35 is not about what went wrong, it's about what went exactly right, and where exactly right quietly, efficiently delivered you. You still have the offer letter. Not physically, you don't keep paper like that, but you remember the weight of it, the blue envelope, the printed number, the way your hand felt signing it, like you were completing something, rather than beginning something. You were beginning something. You just didn't know that a very beginning is also a choice about what you are not beginning. Here is what nobody tells you at 22 about the safe job. The safe job is not the enemy. Stability is not a character flaw. Choosing a reliable income over a speculative one at 22, with rent due and debt real, and a world that felt more frail than anyone was admitting, that was not stupidity. That was a completely human response to real conditions. But there is a difference between choosing safety as a foundation and choosing safety as a destination. A foundation is where you start so that you can build. A destination is where you stop. The people who thrived, not necessarily the richest, not necessarily the most famous, but the ones who at 35 feel like their life is going somewhere rather than continuing somewhere, most of them used the safe job as a foundation. They took the salary and reduced the noise and used the stability to build something on the side. Slowly in the hours the job didn't own, until the something on the side became large enough to stand on its own. They didn't quit dramatically. They didn't burn anything down. They just refused to let the floor become the ceiling. You are 35. The letter was signed 13 years ago. The question is not whether you should have signed it. You can't unsign it. The decade is real, the person it shaped is real, and the foundation, whatever you think of it, is real. The question is what you are going to build on it from here. Because here is the thing about 35 that 22 could never understand. 35 is not late. 35 is the age when you finally know enough about yourself to build something that actually fits. The mistakes are documented. The patterns are visible. The tolerance for pretending you don't know what you want has run completely out. You know what you want. You've known for a while. The only thing left is to decide that knowing is a no start. Without the perfect conditions, without the complete plan, without the version of certainty that you now understand was never coming. The offer letter is signed. It always will be. What you do with the next 13 years is not. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. See you in the next.